Okay, so pad work. Something that a lot of people neglect. Everyone's keen to get straight into the sparring, but unless you do your pad work and get the combinations drilled into your subconscious, your sparring's probably not going to be that good. Any top level fighter will do a lot of pad work and sparring as well as their bag work. Okay, so why do we need to do pad work? Well, when you're actually sparring, there's usually no time to think, unless you're at a distance that Mark stands up. So out here I can think, or out here I can think. Once we're in here, we're both exchanging and you're throwing him back, there's no time to think. And here, when I'm holding, I can think. There's not too much happening, a couple of punches, but here, when we're both trading punches, you can't think. So if you can't think, then what techniques are you going to use? You can't think. So you have to have stuff that's programmed in there, which comes out by reflex. It's like you learn to ride a bike when you're a kid, you fell off heaps of times. If you jumped on a bike now 20 years later, you'd be able to ride it. So it's built in. So you have to build in some combinations, basic combinations which flow, so that when you're in there trading, there is no time to think, because everything's happening at 100th of a second pace, that you will be able to just throw stuff and work your way out of it and still be able to continue fighting. And I've seen videos of me fighting and sparring, and I look at it and think, geez, I never use that combination in sparring. I never step offline and throw that combination. I never do this. But look at it, I can see myself doing all this stuff. I look at it and think, wow, I don't use that. So how is that possible? Then we'll look at the combinations. It's all combinations I've practiced 15 years ago and drilled for years and years and years, and we're just stuck in there. So under pressure when I can't think, or you're in the ring or wherever, and it's a mental blank because there's like 1,000 people watching, cameras everywhere. I've seen people just go out there, just freeze, but they will just unload, and everyone's done a lot of pad work because in there, you throw the jab, that's all that might be in your head, and then the rest of it will just follow. You think, well, where did the cross and the kick come from? You've drilled it a million times on the pads, the same combinations. So when you do pad work, you get a set of combinations. You might use the 12 that we use, or make your own up, some easier ones. Some of those use spinning kicks and side kicks, so you might want to bring it down to basics first. And when you do pad work, just drill those thousands and thousands of times. That's what I did. And when you are applying those in sparring without thinking, then you start adding chucking a couple more advanced combinations. You can modify it, put in some different numbers, but always work your bread and butter. So your basics, jab cross, hook, roundhouse, uppercut, overhands, push kicks, that sort of stuff you're going to be using 99% of the time. The fancy stuff you might throw in, you might risk throwing in now and then, but it's the safe stuff that's going to be best for you. They said, with that pad work, the idea is when I see people do pad work, a lot of the time, it's the pad holder who's the key person, because they're actually coaching. They're not just holding the pads. That's what we call it on the syllabus. We've got basic pad coaching and advanced pad coaching at different levels. It's the pad holder who's developing the person punching. So if the pad holder, and this is what happens a lot, just stands there, it's jab cross, roundhouse, jab cross, and they're not really watching the person, they're just standing there like a robot. And the person throwing the combinations is not going to develop. And I've seen people come and do the pad work every week. 4 years, go to black belt rating and do the worst pad work I've ever seen in the world, because the pad holder didn't get them moving, didn't get them using the hips, so they're punching, they're doing all their combinations like this, and they're really fast at it. No hip movement, no power, no footwork. No one's picked them up on it. Pad holders didn't pick them up like in class. As we go around and try to help people, instructors and haven't picked them up on it. They turn to black belt grading 4.5 years later, and I'm just inside shaking my head and thinking, you're actually worse off. You would have been better not doing any martial arts training, because at least then you get into it, but now you can program yourself just to do this sort of stuff. And so the pad holder could be responsible for your lack of skill if they're not coaching you properly. So we'll have a look at the first item on the pad work. The first thing on there, number 1, look at advanced pad coaching. Yes, the high level. Okay. So one thing people don't realise often is the pad holder is working on sparring as well. The pad holder is going to still be in fighting stance. They're going to have their guard up, and they're going to be moving around, not standing on the spot. So they're always going to be moving. So the pad hold, as a person comes in with combinations, pad holders working their footwork, 1, 2, 3, they're working there, moving around. So they don't throw in a combination, boom, 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 move. Okay, so I'm working my pivots, my footwork, I'm moving around with them, hits, boom, 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 move, hit, body, hook. Okay, so pad holder's getting a workout and is actually sparring. If I borrow Darren. So I'm going to be catching your punches. So you throw a cross punch, I'm catching, you throw this punch, boom. Okay, you throw a hook punch, boom. Okay, so I'm reading and reacting as well. Okay, so I'm developing reflexes, moving around, moving in. I might tell you to advance with your punches. So I'm using retrieving footwork. I might come at you and say punch retreating. I'm using correct footwork as well. When a person's holding the pads, it's important to throw a punch, meet it. So don't just let it fly back, but meet the punch with a little bit of arm movement and a little bit of body movement. And that is what I've seen happen a lot is people just hold and bang. I don't know how many fat lips and black eyes I've seen, but people not reinforcing. Also, the first couple of techniques or the first combination will just be a sort of feeling out combination. So I'll say jab cross hook, you'll go half pace, boom, boom, boom. And I say, okay, this guy's a bit more powerful than I thought, I have to reinforce a bit more, or I have to have it a bit higher. Because if he just comes in full power straight away, boom, boom, over the top, I've seen people have stitches, holding the pads too low for a roundhouse kick. So first couple combinations, just get a feel for your pun, unless you already know them, and then they can start playing into them a little bit harder. Now, if I'm holding this punch, this pad for this punch, I'm learning that I can also do this. So that's called cross parry. So you punch, boom, bang. So I'm learning if he comes this way, off this hand, boom, boom. Normally we parry, say he throws this hand, normally we parry, normally I just up to my chin. Normally I'll parry off this side and counter off this side, or 1, 2. But when you do pad work, it's opposite. So you punch. Actually, it's just like parrying, so I can do in sparring. If you put this hand, I can go 1 here, or I can go and do this. Boom. That cross parry, same as holding pads. We don't use cross parries that often because there's a couple of downfalls, and if he throws that punch and I parry off this hand, he's got this hand. You hit me here, boom. But occasionally, so it's just so keep throwing jabs and crosses. 1, 2. That's safe. Boom. Okay. So I use a cross parry for a second, got my shot in, and then I might go back to normal parrying. So you can throw in a cross parry occasionally. And when you're doing pad work, you are learning about cross parrying at the same time. Yeah, thanks, Dan. Probably call you up again in a second. So the first thing, number 1, was the stance, meaning that they have to be in proper fighting stance, guard up, all the attributes we talk about: knees, feet pointing forwards, back heel off the ground, body slightly side on, and hands up. That's a pad holder. Without pad coaching, a pad holder is actually marked. That's the first box you'll tick if they are in the correct stance. They're staying like that, or this, or not in a proper fighting stance, heels on the ground, well, you wouldn't tick that box. That's an important part of pad holding. Number 2,
reinforcement of impact.
Okay, so that was the bit I was talking to you about there. I'll borrow it down again, regardless of what the technique is to reinforce. Always this first combination of whatever combination I call, just a medium pace one, unless I work with him all the time and I know how to get. So this one, cross punch, boom, just a little hit in, jab punch, boom, say overhand punch, boom, hook punch this hand, boom, then just hitting it, roundhouse kick. Just a little movement here. So it doesn't matter what the technique is, just a little bit of boom behind it so it doesn't fly back in my face. Don't just do a slow motion roundhouse kick. I've seen this happen, boom. So people push too far, get kicked in the face, or even with a punch, I push too far and get hit in the face. So it's just that, like a parry, we don't over parry, we just tap. Same thing, so you have to reinforce on all techniques. And that's one reason is to stop this hitting me back. Also, the other reason is to stop him hyperextending, damaging his joints. So I'll catch it before his arm fully extends. So be 99.9% out, I'll catch it there before lockout. If I ever have the pad held too far away and he hyperextends, probably have it happen to you, end up with an injured elbow, damaged sore elbow for weeks. Same with some kicks as well. Okay, so we don't want them to lock out their elbow. Okay, item number 3.
Loud and clear verbal.
Okay, person calling has to be loud and clear communication. In a grading, there'll be many people throwing pads, and I've seen happen a lot of the time. This person, I've called combination, they're saying what? Everyone's banging, bang, 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 instructors yelling, have to be loud and clear. So if I say, so if this guy's not working, standing around, can't understand, I call a combination that you don't understand or don't say it clearly or don't pronounce it properly, not loud enough. So I have to be loud, clear, precise with what I say, and throw combinations, hopefully that I know that you've been working on. So if I say, switch stance right cross spinning back fist, and you know what's that? And I'm showing you have to go 1, 2. So that wouldn't be too good. So you don't just turn up to a grading, just grab anyone off the bench coming on my pads. It's going to make you look bad, even though you might be awesome on the pads. They call such combinations you haven't been working on, don't know the technique. Probably know it, but you have to drill it a little bit before you go into a grading. So you need a pad holder who's going to work with you consistently up to the grading, and they know exactly what you're going to do. If you see some of the videos I brought back from Thailand, they don't actually call combinations. The person knows what to do just by where they hold the pads. There's one thing I put up there recently, 2 guys working pads, and he's just going. There's no talking at all, just working continuously. They've been working together for years, so he knows the pads here, here, exactly what to throw. Okay, so that was the communication.
Correctly held for threats.
Okay, so for straight punches, so I've seen people come in from other systems, particularly karates and taekwondos, and some of them, for some reason, if it's throwing this hand, they'll hold the same pad out, or this side, they'll hold the same pad out. What happens with that is you're not teaching them to use the hip rotation, because this is a short distance from there to there, short distance. Now if I use the diagonal, it forces him to use his waist and reach correctly. It's going to maximise power. His footwork's different, so just throw punch to here. There's been no change to a stance, no hip movement. I use this pad, this stance has changed. He's directed his power correctly, he uses hips, power comes through hips and legs predominantly, upper body uses reach a lot better. Okay, so we use the opposite side, and all your kickboxings, Thai boxings, MMAs, and most of your full contact fighting will do it this way. Okay, so if he's punching up that side, I make him reach to the opposite side. If he's punching up that side, if it's an uppercut, off the opposite side, if it's a hook punch you have to do anyway. Okay, so correctly held for straights means force them to punch to the opposite side, and all your punches force them to cross over, not punch to the same side. Okay, so that's item number 3 that we'll test in the grading of the pad holder is calling correctly. Okay.
Correctly held for hooks.
Correctly held for hooks means, so straights will be here, hooks is, so if we're talking about hip hooks, if we're talking body hooks, it'll be lower. Or even slightly angled, you can come up with like a body rip, someone's called a shovel hook, it's half a hook, half an uppercut. So as long as you're meeting the strike square, whatever angle it's coming at, so it's a hook punch, I have to meet that at 90 degrees. Next one.
Correctly held uppercut.
It's uppercut, so straight punches, hooks, uppercuts. Around there, around chin level. Even when I'm holding for straight punches, middle of the pad around there, chin level or slightly higher. So if you've got people of different heights, one person may need to hold higher, it's going to be a bit hard on their shoulders. The other person, taller person, may need to drop their stance. So you wouldn't drop your hands so much, keep it back straight, drop your stance. You might just switch sides.
Correctly held for roundhouse.
Okay, so roundhouse kick, I'll hold this side. A lot of the time I see people hold like this. So all they're teaching them to do is a leg raise. Okay, so they're not teaching, look at his hips. There's no hip rotation, no power in that kick. Now there's times in sparring, if your guard's up, there's a gap here, I might throw a straight leg roundhouse to hit to a gap. But most of the time, I'm going to be turning in, or if his elbows up, punching in, so I have to turn hip over. The only way I can get him to do that properly is by lifting my pads up like this. Now, depending on their height and how high they can kick, so if Darren can kick to that height, that's fine. He might have an angle that's slightly down, that's fine, but definitely not like that. Now, if his power kicks were to the body, I'd have to drop my stance. See? Yeah. And I've even seen them in Thailand, they'll actually kneel down for the, because I can't hold it low and stand up. That's not possible for me to get my forearms like that. I have to drop. That's a lot of stance I prefer to use. So you have to hold it, not have to be exactly vertical, but close to vertical. And watch his hips now. They turn over correctly. So if you're holding it lazy like this, which you see happen in class a lot, you're teaching them to kick correctly. Now sometimes when you're doing multiple kicks, so say you're doing 5 of the same kick in a row, 2 fast, 2, yep. Then you may angle it down slightly to speed the kick up. Because if I did it like this, and you turned your whole hip over, really going to slow the kicks down. But those multiple kicks are for developing this trigger. Okay, so it's kick, just don't drop your heel to the ground, use this as a spring, pull, so it's for double kicks. Even though we're using a roundhouse kick for pad work, it may be push, kick, and kick. So what we try and develop is that speed in the double kicks, or triple, or however many kicks you want to do. And putting in doubles, triples, quadruples, even 10 in a row for pad work is great for fitness as well.
Directly elbows.
Elbows we hold pretty much same as a cross punch. You can angle it slightly back if you want. Okay, so if he throws a cross punch, throws an elbow, okay, you might take it back a little bit, but you have to watch you don't put yourself in a shoulder lock and bust your shoulder. And other side, okay, so that's your horizontal elbow, downward elbow, you can do horizontal elbows, hold it more like a hook for your horizontal elbow. Yep. Downward elbow, same as a cross punch.
Correctly hold for knees.
Okay, so knees, if you're doing straight knee to the body, I just cross them over, and he'll generally, you can use shoulders, we generally grab around the back of the head, or the neck, preferably the crown of the head. People with neck injuries, or with someone partnered with a big person with a small person, we don't want them yanking on the neck too much, so we might hold the shoulders, but you can grab onto my neck and knee, and you can use the other knee as well, and drive your hips in. Okay, so I'm just dropping my weight, I don't have to push into it, I just drop my weight. Okay, so that's for the knee with a clinch. If we're using round knee, which is, we're in here, and I'm using this inside of my knee to get to this area around the back, lower ribs and kidney, then I hold this way. So you got it again. So you're using the inside of your knee. Yep. And something that people don't use enough of is just your basic striking knee. So you're standing there and you might throw a jab and then a knee. Just straight into the pad, so you don't have to grab at all. So it might just be 1, 2, and hook. So you could go jab, knee, and hook. Boom. Yep. Okay, so yeah, a knee is, in Thailand, they call it a knee kick. They don't see it as a separate thing to kicking. So if they're going to be kicking, it could be knee. Doesn't mean I have to grab all the time. So I might go jab, cross, knee, hook. Same as a push, kick, hook. Yeah. So that's knees, how to hold for knees, reinforce, yeah, or just like a jab and cross, but just hands down a little bit lower.
Directly fed for slips.
Okay, so when we get into advanced pad coaching, everything we've done so far is what we call basic pad coaching. And what belt level is a basic pad coaching on? Should be
Pro Blue.
Pro Blue. So everything I've called so far, Pro Blue pad holders have to demonstrate that at the grading. And also the person striking has to demonstrate all the appropriate techniques. When we get to advanced pad coaching, then we start throwing a little bit more advanced stuff for the pad holders to do. One is, I'll get them learning head movement. How to get them learning head movement is by throwing slips at them. So I would just throw a jab at him, and I would call the combination. So let's say I say, throw a slip, yep, and then come back with a right hand. Boom, yep, so slip, boom, right hand. Okay, so I'm throwing basically a jab or a cross, preferably to his chin, and I will throw a jab across, and he has to slip them. 1, 2. I'm not trying to hit him, because if I could just go bang and smack him in the face with the pad, I'm coaching him, I'm the coach, I'm not trying to beat him or anything. So I've got to be able to stay at his pace. If I start doing them fast and he's not slipping and ducking, or he can't do it fast enough, that's my fault. I've gone too fast. I've got to be able to do it at a pace that he is able to do it, and then speed it up, then I'm a good coach. Because I see people in class, they're trying to beat this person. So they're trying to as fast as they can, so they feel cool because he couldn't slip as fast and duck as fast as I'm going to pad. So there's no clue about coaching. So if I'm finding occasionally I'm hitting you, boom, okay, I'll slow it down a bit so that you're slipping and maybe even a duck. Yeah, 99% of them, when you're getting 99% of them, then I'll pick the pace up a little bit. Okay, so for the slips, just throw them straight to the chin. 1, 2, notice I'm controlling them. And you can call combinations between. So I might say jab cross, slip slip, and hook punch. Boom. Okay, for instance. Yep. So that's how you coach them to do their slips properly. Okay, so you can even get pads that have a glove on them, which are usually, I haven't seen them in tight pads. I think you can get them, but usually in focus pads. Yeah, so you can actually hit them if they're not fast enough. But hit them with this, and I've seen people get cut. But these are not too bad. They're round. In the old days, they were perfectly square and sharp on the edges. But over the years, they've rounded them off.
Correctly fed for ducks.
Okay, so ducks. Now, normally when I'm hooking, it'll be a short, sharp hook. But I'm not going to be able to coach them too well if I just start throwing them straight away. When I'm teaching them to throw a duck and I say duck this, it's not going to happen. So I have to exaggerate it, at least initially, so that he's got time to read and he knows if the pad's coming this way, he's watching my movement, he knows duck towards it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and the other way. So here I might say jab cross, boom, boom, slip, slip, boom, slip, duck, and hook, or whatever it is after that. Now I wouldn't call it like that as I go. We would have a set combination written that we drew, so I'll just say it's going to be combination 1, and you know that is boom, 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 boom. Or I might call it once, jab, cross, slip, slip, duck, duck. And then I'll get him to repeat that combination 5 or 10 times. I wouldn't just say it once and then move on to something else, unless we got it by numbers. If I got it by numbers, I can say 1, 5, 3, and there's going to be no talking and gaps in between, but you have to work up to that.
Test checks.
Okay, so when you get to this stage, and we'll just hold there, I've put some pads, some shin pads. Okay, so for advanced pad coaching, and for second degree black belt, you have to wear a belly pad. And for anyone who is on a high level, I would recommend a belly pad. But these things are expensive, these belly pads, so we can't supply one for every student here. So it's something like if you wanted, it even says on the grading form it's optional, but for second degree it's not optional. I recommend having one if you're going to be doing a lot of pad work. What the belly pad allows is, say if we're normally doing, say, a push kick, jab cross, so the person might hold for the push kick. Imagine I don't have the belly pad, I might hold for the push kick here, so if I push kick, jab cross. So by me holding the push kick here, I'm teaching him not to kick to the target, I'm teaching him to kick off target. Or if I held it here for a front kick, I'm teaching him, whenever you do a front kick, to kick in front of your opponent, because really you wouldn't be able to reach me. So if you were just to go 1, 2, 3, you're not going to reach. So in reality I would have to use some footwork, bang, and then bang, bang. So if you're punching here and kicking down here, it's not going to work too good for your range. You're not going to teach you correct range, because you're going to be able to do everything off the spot. But in reality, I'm further than that. So you're going to have to learn how to close the gap. Or if it was say a hook punch to the body, so it's down over here, say a body rip. Yep. Now I'm not really standing there. Okay, again, I'm standing here. So when you're sparring, you're finding you just can't get close enough on your body punch because you haven't learned to step. Yep. You haven't learned to step. So if I say, okay, punch to these, so you go cross punch and then a body rip. See that footwork you just did there? It forced him to punch to where the target is really going to be. Okay, so if you're doing all your body punches and stuff and your kicks out the front here all the time, it's not teaching you to penetrate that last little bit of range. That's footwork. That's what's going to get you into hit the target. So this is about range. So when we're doing our pad work, let's just jump over here for a tick. What number were we up to? We'll go through it in order. Checks, wasn't it? Checks.
Test checks.
Okay, so number 12 item, test checks. I'll wear the shin pads, pad holder wears the shin pads. So when we're doing a combination, say the combination is jab, cross, roundhouse, I might throw a kick first or after it, doesn't really matter where. So I'll say check, boom, throw a combination, boom, boom, check, boom, check, boom, cross, boom, left hook, slip, duck, check, boom. Okay, so he's now learning to check. Instead of normally him always being on the attack, so when you get the mindset of a pad holder, you just always attack, 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 attack. You don't have to worry about your defences. At any time I can go bang and hit him in the head. Now all of a sudden he has to be alert because at any time I could throw a hook. So he's not only thinking attack, but he's also thinking defence and check. Okay, so it changes it into sparring. So now we're pretty much sparring because you're defending and attacking. Yeah, so all it is with the shin pads is with the test the checks is I have to see that he is able to check. So if he's not checking, say your guard's up, you punch, 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 they're not kicking, you don't check it, boom. And he's not checking any of them, you put a cross on that box. If he's checking most of them, so he's checks, boom, 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 inside check. He's checking most of them, then you put a tick in that box because he's working. It's like both sides of the brain sort of thing, attacking and defence. So, the other thing is push kicks. I can throw a push kick anytime and he should either step offline or deflect it. And then bang, for instance, or whatever it may be.
Maintain range for reach.
Okay, so maintaining range for reach. Probably 50% of the people I see who pad work in class stand at a range that they can already reach their target. But in sparring, you're only going to be in this range at certain times. Most of the time, you're just out of range. Unless you're extremely fit, like getting punched in the head, you're not going to stand at this range all the time because it's just going to be trading punches continuously and taking a lot of blows. So the game's out here, and if I can get past something, so he throws a kick for instance, yeah, so he throws here, whatever the kick is, if I can get past it, now I'm in range, but I've got the advantage because I've stepped offline. So instead of doing everything at this range, which is the range that he can actually reach me at, which is, you have to work that range as well. You also have to work this range as well, close range. Start a lot of stuff from here to force him to close the gap, or me to close the gap. So he'll come in with a jab cross, but watch his feet. Boom, boom. He has to be able to close that gap. Or if it's a roundhouse kick, stand back a little bit. Yeah, we'll stay from here. If it's a roundhouse kick, how's he going to get to me? He uses the switch stance and advance forward and then kick. So with a lot of your pad work, start them, I'm not saying, I'd say 80% of your pad work, start them out here. So they're forced to move in, and then I'll teach you how to circle in a second. Sometimes in contact range, other times right in close, working in close range and knees to the legs and so on. Yeah.
Several after combos.
Okay, the other thing that I see happen a lot is I just see a seesaw happening. When I walk around civilised pad work, I can see maybe 80% working as a seesaw and a few people circling and working angles. So what happens in sparring or pads, let's just take pads, you throw your combination, boom, whatever it is, boom, and I hold the next one, and then I hold the next one. And usually what happens with the person who's striking is they're going like this, boom, 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 and then they hold for the next one for me. Hold the pads up, pretend, and I'll go boom, 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 boom. And I'll go boom, 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 boom. Yeah, that's what happens a lot. And in sparring, if that happens, it's just going to be head on head. You're not going to get any angles happening, which gives you an advantage. It's like two balls going horn to horn. So what you want to coach your the striker, what you want to coach them to do is say, I call jab cross roundhouse, boom, boom, move. Roundhouse, right hand, move, push kick, jab cross, move. Okay, so I don't have to always say move, but you might have to sometimes, but get them after they throw their combination, so they throw a combination, boom, 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 circle. Okay, so in sparring, he's got an advantage until I go bang. So he'll have an advantage for a tenth of a second maybe, if we're sparring. Say we're sparring, you came in with a combination, and you moved offline, I'm covering, then I've gone bang, I've got hit, and I move around. So just for that 100th of a second, when he circles, which we also call moving offline, he has an advantage until I square up again. But people aren't going to do that in sparring until you've drilled it into them, because it's something that you don't think, when I'm sparring, I don't think, okay, after this combination, I'm just being hit. You can't think, after this combination, I'm going to circle, and then do this. There's no time to think that, you just have to do it. So you just throw your combination and move, and then you think later, and you see on a video, wow, I didn't know I actually used this step offline stuff. But yeah, you do, because it's been drilled into you. So get them always circle after, not every time, they might throw 2 in a row straight, and then they'll circle around. Boom, 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 circle around.
Use belly pad.
Okay, so the belly pan I explained a little bit earlier for the range, so I won't explain that one again. That was, what items that one?
That's the last one.
Last one, yeah. Just to get them use their correct range, particularly for body punches, even straight punches to the body. So you might go jab to the head and punch to the body, boom, so he's got correct range, and then you might come up with a roundhouse, and then you might grapple me and throw, grapple and then throw knees to the dots, round knees. Yeah. Okay, so it's better for teaching them range when you use a belly pad. That's a lot. Okay, cool.